Listen, I couldn't be any more angry this morning than when I don't watch television, but I saw it this morning. Someone else's place. Scott Morrison wants to ban a young NRL player from the Gold Coast Titans from earning a living because he won't have a flu shot. A young guy who's dedicated his whole life to rugby league, a dedicated sportsman. This scumbag Morrison, we'll call him Scumo. They say his name's Scumo. I'll call him Scumo. Yeah, Morrison, I'm calling you Scumo. He wants to ban this young... They said, they interviewed him this morning. They said, Scott, what would you do? He said, no jab, no play. He says it very confident. He proudly said, I was the one that initiated the no jab, no play with the children years ago in the childcare centres. He's proud of that. He's proud of that he stopped young people from playing with other young people. What's the basis of this? The basis of this is the debate around vaccination. Now listen, but there's a bigger picture going on here, and that bigger picture is the freedom to choose. If you want to vaccinate, great. And if you believe it works, you're safe. You're safe from the non-vaxxers, yeah? You have to be. If it works, you're safe. If you don't choose to vaccinate and it works and you get a disease and something happens, you got to live with that. But at least you made your choice. Now, there's an argument going around. What they've done over the years, they've politicised it to the point. There's always been this argument with the medical profession, who I admire, the medical profession, but they're not perfect. They're human like the rest of us. They're self-interested, right? The medical profession, they said, well, how are we going to get on top of this debate? We'll say that those who are non-vaccinated are causing us illness. Listen. So what they said was, there's this idea that if 3 or 4 or more people, the more people you get vaccinated, the more immunity you get. So if I'm standing in a room and you're vaccinated and he's vaccinated and I'm vaccinated, somehow the vaccination works better. I've got a force field around me now. Do you really believe that? There's some sort of force field, so I'm even more protected because Freddie down the road there is vaccinated. Freddie, you come and sit close to me. I'm more protected. Really? What a load of BS. If you can show me the research on this, I used to study psychology, so I know a little bit about research. If you can show me the research on this force field, I'll buy it. But you can't show me that research. So there's no research whatsoever that the more people who are vaccinated get higher protection than they would otherwise if there were less people. It doesn't make any sense. It's mysticism, it's voodooism. But they're using this to demonise good families, women, children, dads, the young NRL player for nothing more than having a difference of opinion. I'm making a plea to people to stop demonising people who have a difference of opinion. And just look at this vaccination debate logically. It can't make any sense. You can't say because mum's vaccinated, the kid's vaccinated, the dog's vaccinated, I get more protection. Wait! How? How do you get more protection? Is there a force field? Once you've got whatever you've got, if the vaccination works, great. But just because Joe Bloggs down the road there's vaccinated, trust me, it has no... But you never see the medical profession push this too much because they know it's BS as well. And this scumbag, Scott Scumo Morrison, wants to take away the livelihood of a young NRL player. This scumbag, Morrison, stopped young people playing in playgrounds with their friends on nothing more than a lie. Nothing more than a lie. We've been demonising people for having freedom of choice. We have freedom of choice in everything because we've tried to turn this debate around that if you choose not to vaccinate, you're a threat to my health. It's not true. It can't be true. It doesn't make any sense. It's like saying, I'll catch cancer from you. You can't catch cancer from him. If anything, the person who's vaccinated is probably a bigger threat to the person who isn't. And you don't have to be... You know why this debate doesn't go away? It doesn't go away because there are people out there, whenever there's clusters of illness, like I remember there being a school in Sydney, they're always vaccinated. And you ask yourself, well, heck, if you're vaccinated and you're still getting sick, why don't they just have the balls and the honesty to say, well, look, it's not 100% effective? Because it isn't. Rather than blame people who are not vaccinated and demonise decent people for having a different opinion. I'm calling you out, Morrison. I don't have the power that you have to get on all the radio stations and all the television stations. I'm calling you out. Show me the research. Show us the research that shows an increase in the effectiveness of immunisation drugs when more people have it as well. Show us. I'll buy it, mate. I'm not a pighead. I'll buy it. If it's there, I'll buy it. It's not there. That's why. If it's not there, which I believe it isn't, you've been abusing your power. You've been abusing your power with a no jab, no play against decent families. You've been abusing your power against this NRL player. When you abuse your power, it's called corruption. I'm calling you out, Morrison. I'm not going to say you're corrupt now. I believe you probably are, because I don't believe that research exists. Show us that research. Stop labelling people crackpots for having a different opinion. Now, let's just get one thing clear about Morrison. He loves the no jab, no play talk because Morrison is an ex-advertising guy. And when you're an advertising guy, you love catchy words. But he's not a guy who understands the foundations of democracy. We know that, how he handled the recent raids on the ABC, that he'll cave in every day of the week. He stuck his nose in there he shouldn't have. Ida called him up. Oh, Scumo. And of course, he jumped. He shouldn't have. He jumped. He should have gone to jail for that alone. I'm saying to you, Morrison, show us the research. If you can't show us the research, if the research doesn't come, please spread this video around. We want to see the research. If the research doesn't come, please, if there's a lawyer out there with a conscience, we want a class action against Scott Morrison. We want a class action against Scott Morrison for the demonisation and the loss and the hurt he caused against all of these decent families for having nothing more than a different opinion. We also want the law to get involved because not only do we want the class action, if there's no research, his behaviour is corrupt. And we want the law to get involved and we want Scott Morrison charged with corruption. I'm not saying he's corrupt yet, but I'm saying if that research isn't there, that somehow there's this force field around people that the more people get vaccinated, the more it works, then you are corrupt. Spread this video, please. We want the research and we want a lawyer to be sitting there waiting. If that research doesn't come, we want Scumo Morrison charged with corruption. Just another thing too, I say to everybody, don't demonise people for having a different opinion. Think for yourself. Don't listen to this pathetic media. There's no such thing as a force field around people that makes it work. If vaccination works, great, you're safe. If it doesn't work, accept their choice. These are your neighbours. These are your friends. It's too easy. We already live in a society that is so over-regulated, so punitive. You drive 5 minutes on a toll, someone's fining you here, fining you there. Oh, how can I fine him? You do this, we'll fine you there. We'll ban you from this. We need to get government back to a public service. And at the moment, this vaccination debate is the hot topic. Let's not demonise those who have a different opinion. Let's call out this scumbag, Scott Scumo Morrison. Morrison, I'm calling you out. Show me that fucking research. If that research isn't there, I'm calling for the chief of police to fucking charge you with corruption, and we want a lawyer to start a class action against you personally for millions and millions and millions of dollars in harm you've caused decent people for nothing. Decent families, good mothers, beautiful children, good fathers who just chose not to vaccinate. Because Blind Freddy can see the evidence is questionable. These are decent people. If the evidence was rock solid, they would vaccinate. But when you see the vaccinated getting sick, you don't want to do it. It's not that they're fucking anti-establishment, most of them. Listen, I don't know why this is going through the Georgies channel, this YouTube. It's got nothing to do with the Georgies. But I just got to get this out there. There's going to be a lot more. We need to speak up. We need to speak up against... Listen, we'll get onto the government next time, but the corruption in government, it's no different to what went on in the Soviet Union or goes on in other countries. It's just sugar-coated. It's just sugar-coated. All right, guys, have a good day.